Welcome back to Draft Utopia. Chris Ransom here, and joining me today is Dilyn Northcutt from Massachusetts. We've known each other for quite a while. We've had some fun conversations, but today he'll be joining me. We'll go over some of the AL and NL wildcards really quickly. Then we'll jump into some Week 5 predictions here on a brief show. But the last two wildcard games, we saw some batters. I expected this to be a very pitcher-friendly wildcard, but the two main players that have stepped up are Aaron Judge for the Yankees in their 7-4 win over the Twins, and Paul Goldschmidt, who hit that 3-run home run last night to help the Diamondbacks beat the Rockies. But now you've got the Diamondbacks going to the Dodgers and the Yankees going to Cleveland. I said it would be the Indians and the Dodgers, but I feel like the Astros could play spoiler. But those are the three teams I've been locked in on, and those are the three teams. I know the Red Sox play the Astros today. I think it's Sale versus Verlander at 4 p.m., I believe, Dylan.
Yep, Aiden Verlander tonight, yep.
Yep, so
Now,
go ahead.
what I'm going to say about that is Chris Sale tonight, especially this one-on-one matchup, I think Verlander is definitely, I think he's definitely so efficient, but tonight I think the Astros, you'll see why the Red Sox are here, why they've won the last 2 years straight in the LCS, so I think it's huge. I think the Red Sox are actually on pace to probably bring home another title this year. I know I'm trying to say that biased because, I live in New England now, but I just think they'll swing by the Astros easily with the pitching staff, but that's just me, though.
All right.
I just think, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead.
I just think that watching that Yankees game, too, for the Twins, as long as, bats aren't flying in the first inning and it's 3-0 or 3-3 or, some crazy score in the beginning, I feel like Chris Sale does his normal Chris Sale stuff, comes out, hits the gun through each inning, and I just feel like the Red Sox should come out on top, over the Astros. That's just, that's my prediction, definitely.
I think that Red Sox are actually going to win tonight, but they're going to lose the series in 4 games. And I could even see the Yankees beating Cleveland tonight with Sonny Gray going up against Bauer. But Bauer was big for us in last year's playoffs in the opening round. Same with Tomlin when we lost Carrasco and Salazar. So I could see that happening for sure. There's a lot of different scenarios here, and I don't understand why the Dodgers started Kershaw on Saturday when they had home field locked up. I don't understand why the Indians started Kluber, but those teams were both in it for home field in the World Series. They were 1 game apart, so I think that's why they wanted to start those guys. So we'll see what happens tonight. But my thinking is we'll probably see the Red Sox and Yankees win tonight, but we'll see the Indians and the Astros win the series overall.
Okay. Absolutely. I don't mind that at all. That's not bad. Tonight, how was it? Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. I actually agree with that. I agree with the Indians, definitely. I mean, that would be crazy with Terry Francona, obviously, as well. That's a big slap in the face for Boston as well if that happens. I just feel like, I feel like I can side with your predictions pretty well on that. I don't really have anything to really argue or anything to switch by, so I agree. I think that can definitely happen.
Yeah, and then NL is Friday. I think Dodgers are just going to run away with the NL this year for some reason, unless some of their pitchers get injured, because they just look like such a complete team on paper. I think the Cubs and Nationals are both very evenly matched. I could see either team getting back to the NLCS, and then at that point, it could go either way. So I'm honestly thinking that the Dodgers are probably going to run away with the National League. I'd be surprised if anyone else did at this point. So we'll see. Any thoughts on the National League before we jump into some NFL Week 5 picks?
Yeah. I just want to bring up with that. What was it, the Diamondbacks and the Rockies? That was the
yes,
game
that was a wild card game last night.
So let me just bring that up real quick. So I think the Diamondbacks make baseball really fun too. They are a huge bat. I really enjoy them as well. Now with the Dodgers, are they picking? Hold on, let me see. Who's picking for them? For the Dodgers, you said it was Clayton pitching.
Yeah, Clayton Kershaw is pitching in Game 1.
Okay. All right. So I just really think because Arizona in that game they went up they went up so early, like 6-0, I think it was. Like, I don't remember the score completely, but I just feel like if those guys, anything can happen in these wild card games. Even though that didn't, like, you know, I mean, that already happened, but I just feel like these games, especially with playoffs in general, like for any sport, I mean, whoever shows up to play that night is taking it home, and it could be, like, I don't know, like, I definitely can side with you a little bit with the Dodgers could roll through, but I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know, it's just like starting pitchers weren't long, like, you know, and the Yankees and Twins game on Wednesday night, like, it swapped out real quick. That first 1/2, 3 innings, like, were absolute blowout. Like Yankees fans were already, you know, freaking out. It was already 3-0. You know what I mean? It was tough, and then they came back and hit 3 in the bottom of the first as well. It was tied already. So I just feel like right now as well, I just think Zach helped them a lot pitching. Like, you know, with the D-backs, I think Grange's pitching was tough. Like, it basically let Colorado back in the game, to be honest. Like, I just don't know, like, if the Diamondbacks pitching staff can hold up, but I definitely think they have good bats. They have good offense as well, but you need, you know, both ways to pull through. So, to be honest, I'm analyzing this a little bit more. I definitely think the Dodgers probably will have a nice, easy way through with that, actually. So, yeah, that's, you know, I was looking more into this a little bit, but to be honest, the D-backs are explosive, but I just don't think they're going to be doing anything too crazy unless, like, the pitching staff somehow Zach or anybody comes out and can maybe pitch a little bit better than in that wild card game, because that game was, you know, a crazy 11-8 scoring game. It was out of control. So, you know, if the Dodgers can hold down, keep it up, and, you know, and keep the bats quiet, I think that'd be an easier way to roll through too as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's sort of where we both stand with that series. We'll get to some of these NFL predictions next. The Patriots, they head into Tampa Bay tonight. I know Levante David and Quan Alexander are both inactive, and the Patriots have to improve in a lot of areas. Their linebacker play has to step up. Malcolm Butler cannot get beat on these deep passes, which is just terrible at this point, what he's doing. You also have issues with Stephon Gilmore. He gave up 2 illegal use of the hands penalties last week versus Carolina, and this is a big reason why the Patriots lost. I mean, that's definitely a reason why they lost. I have a new phone cover on my phone, so if this audio is not as loud on YouTube later today, that's why. But let's focus on this game. The offensive tackles were an issue in Carolina last week, so the offensive tackles, the linebackers, the cornerbacks for New England have to step up. Tom Brady is the man, but he can't do it all on his own, and that's why the Patriots are 2-2. I do believe they will get the win tonight, take care of business. At the same time, this team has to step up, so we'll see what happens.
Now, I'm going to add in there as well with the linebacker core here. So, Dante Hightower, he came out, I don't know if it was on the 5th, maybe this morning. I don't know if it was this morning or it was supposed to be this morning. Maybe it was last night he said it. But he's actually taking accountability from the struggling defense that we have been seeing over the past couple weeks as well. Because I don't know how you thought with it changing at linebacker before the game of the season happened, but after missing those 2 games, hopefully, it's tough. Like, that 33-30 game, I just feel like they're giving up, what? Here we go. We have something here. They're giving up 128 points, and over 1,827 yards in 2017. It's their worst numbers through 4 games in 18 seasons under Coach Bill Belichick. All right? This is like, I went to the first game, and it was literally, we were not expecting to see someone walk into New England scoring over 21 points week 1. We weren't seeing any, to be honest, because I'm starting to get onto the Patriots, lagging a little bit over the past 2 years, but, I really feel like just how they've won every other Super Bowl they have. Defense, with everyone else that says it, defense wins championships. You could have Tom Brady, you could have Randy Moss, you could have any sort of special star, wideout, anybody you please. But if your defense is not stepping up and making plays, stupid penalties, like you said, with Gilmore, hands to the face, hand interference. Then you have, I think it's Alan Branch. He's not even playing this week. Like, he's the deep tackle as well. I think he'd even fly with them down there, and that's another big thing as well. And then with Gronk, he's expected to play. It's every week is expected, or it's a half and half. It's a half and half. I feel like Gronk isn't 100% healthy yet. I feel like what they're doing with Cooks as well, we need Brandon Cooks almost be doing what Randy Moss was doing. I know it's two different people, two different statues. It's completely different. I got you. Cooks has the feet. He has the speed. If you send him downfield like Drew Brees did 80% of the time in that playbook, and you can run your slants with Hogan and Amendola, or run little routes to Gronk down the middle for seams, but they have to go back to letting the ball fly. And when they did that week 1 and week 2, you could see Tom Brady was miscued, missed 3 or 4 deep balls as well with Cooks. Don't get me wrong, Cooks had that one big kind of game towards the end in the second half. He had that huge touchdown, and it was good. But saying that, with only that one game, the Patriots just, I don't know if they're just comfortable right now or what, and they want to say that, oh, we don't want to be 2-2, no one wants to be 2-2, and obviously that's fine. But if they come into tonight think it's going to be an easy game against the Buccaneers, and like you said, they can come in and take care of business, and that can happen easily. But if this defense isn't shaped up again for tonight, Jameis Winston could be having a field day. And why I say that, like I was saying earlier, he's coming off of 2 games with over 346 passing yards. If Mike Evans starts hitting seams, if they get Doug Martin on screens, start running the ball a little bit, if the Patriots cannot stop this offense tonight, it's going to be a tough game. Now, I would like to see the Patriots head over heels tonight and, come out with a victory and handle business, like you said. But I feel like people are overlooking this game a little bit tonight. And I know Tom Brady has never lost to the Buccaneers. Now, if Tom Brady wins tonight, he breaks the record for, I think it was the most games won in a season, or over the years or whatever. I didn't really look into that record that much, but I think tonight's game is a little bit more on the big part of the scale than people are really looking at it. Because if they do lose tonight, what do we talk about going into this coming week? It's a short week as well. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, obviously, with the Patriots coming off of short weeks, Bill Belichick's the master. He's a key. He's good. But saying that, Bill Belichick cannot run the defense. He can't play for them. He can't be out there with the helmet on. You know what I mean? I just feel like that this game really is an overlook. This game could go either way. So I really hope the Patriots do come out on top. But if not, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board big time. And this coming week, on this long week, they're going to have to come back and really try to execute whatever is going on in that defense and miscues and readings, and, Patricia and them have to step up and make this team better. And that's it.
You're right, that's it. And with Tampa Bay, they have a 3 tight end set, a very innovative 3 tight end set. And what they did is they basically took the offense that the Patriots used and evolved it. They used O.J. Howard as a receiver next to Evans, and then they put Stalker and Brait in the 2 tight end set, like Hernandez and Gronkowski. So they've been able to take the Patriots system, their 2 tight end system, and evolve it and take it to another level. So that's going to be an interesting thing to watch as well, because we saw the Buccaneers line up 3 tight ends in their starting lineup against the Giants. Now, whether they do that against the Patriots remains to be seen, but that's something that the Patriots are going to have to prepare for. And I've got the Patriots winning this game 35-21. I also have both of these teams ending the year with home field. In a crazy scenario now, the Patriots, Steelers, and Chiefs all end up 13-3, and the Chiefs are the team that gets stuck in the wild card game, which would be a really bad break for the Chiefs if that ended up happening. But the Patriots, they find a way to win this game 35-21. You want to make what's your pick for this game before we get to the next game?
I'm going to take the Patriots. I don't have a score prediction because I don't want to jump on that too much, but I will take the Patriots hopefully by 14. I'll just say that.
All right, that's cool. Joey doesn't do scores either. He's the co-host of my Sunday show. Next game features the Browns and the Jets in Cleveland. And believe it or not, Cleveland is a 1-point favorite. Plus, Myles Garrett is expected to make his debut on Sunday. So This is a tough game for me. I mean, Josh McCown may want revenge on Cleveland. He got back-to-back wins for the first time in 15 years. Plus, the Browns' front seven's banged up, but the Jets are terrible offensively from top to bottom. Cleveland is due for a win this season. Kaiser may deliver this weekend versus this weak Jets secondary. I know one of our writers is actually starting Kaiser on DraftKings, which is extremely bold considering how many drop passes his receivers are making. Garrett and Shelton should play this weekend, so Cleveland's front seven may be at full health for the first time all season if Garrett, Shelton, and Ogba all end up playing like the media is saying. So I have the Browns as the Browns are a 1-point favorite. I'm taking the Browns by a touchdown, 20-13 here, but this is a game that could honestly go either way.
Yep, I agree. And also, well, I'm going to throw in there as well that I know you brought up Josh McCown with that 2-2, those 2 quick wins. That was good. But you got to see this defense. Now let's talk about what the Patriots did there. They let go of McConey early, right? And Ellie, I think these last 2 games have been, especially this last game, was huge. He was in the backfield almost the whole game. I mean, if you look at the stats here, I think, what does it say about, he played only 56.7% of snaps and literally came through with about 6 dropbacks, 7 pressure snaps as well. So I just feel like without letting go of what was it? Was it Wilkerson who just left them? Was it Wilkerson? Or was it someone? I know the Jets left. I know a D end or like a middle linebacker left the Jets who was a big all-star on the team this year.
I think it was David Harris who signed with the Patriots.
Okay, yeah, okay. And then I just feel like that, the Jets defense also needs just the whole Browns and Jets as well. Both teams need to revamp everything, okay? Now with the Jets, like you're saying, that offense I like. I love Anderson. He's a great wide receiver, big body. He's a good dude. And to be honest, if you've seen Josh McCown through the years, I know he's an older quarterback. I know that he's injury prone, he can get hurt, he's older. But this man can still swing the football. Look at these yards that he's throwing up. Like, he is just here to throw the ball and get these receivers a chance without trying to throw interceptions that much. And to be honest, if you look at their backfield still, I don't even know how Bryce Petty still has a job there. You saw in the preseason, he couldn't even handle a snap count or a huddle. He didn't know any of the plays. I just feel like the Jets, after this year, need to move forward with a QB or do something. They've had this problem forever. This whole franchise, besides Joe Namath, maybe a couple other QBs, Vinny Testaverde, maybe a couple other people who played a year or 2 there, if anything, Brett Favre, if anything, they are all past their prime. Every person who played besides Joe in their time there was either past the prime or were there for a year or so. And it's just time for the Jets to make a move. I just don't understand how teams can go through every year with some washed quarterback, or just a depth chart behind an old quarterback. If Josh McCown goes down, who's filling his shoes?
Bryce Petty or Christian Hackenberg, but I'm just not sold on either quarterback. But I know I picked the Browns this weekend. Everyone else at Draft Utopia is taking the Jets to win this game, Dylan. So who do you like before I get to Ryan Romero's insight?
I'm going to go with the Browns. And I'll tell you this. I'm telling you, just like you just said, Myles Garrett coming in this week, that would be huge. I like their defensive rush. They have good quarterbacks as well sitting over there. I think the Browns can come up on top here. Definitely without a problem. And to be honest, Kaiser I think Kaiser, I think you said a couple of drop passes, wide receivers aren't really doing their thing. I think Kaiser can still be an overall leader over the years in this team. And hopefully we can see that with this game against the Jets. I feel like it could be a good game, a lot of pressure on both sides. But I definitely feel like the Browns will definitely come out on top.
Yeah, I've got the Patriots and the Browns winning these 2 games. So, Ryan, quick thoughts here. We've got the Patriots and the Buccaneers. Who do you like in that game?
Well, honestly, usually I'm really sold on the Patriots. Obviously, I'm still going to go ahead and go with them because they're the Patriots. They have Tom Brady. He's pretty much everything you want in a quarterback, right? However, that being said, though, the secondary is pretty weak right now. Dude, you have Alex Smith, who threw almost 80%, or it was 80% on the dot completion rate in that Week 1 game. What is that, man? That's terrible.
Yep.
won. Oh,
yeah, that's a good score. I've got 35-21. The next game is the Browns and the Jets. I'm taking the Browns, but everyone else at Draftutopia is taking the Jets. And Dylan's with me on this one, so.
Mm-hmm. You know, you can argue for both teams, really. I mean, right now, if you think about it, the Jets have a little bit of momentum as far as they have confidence, finally. They're starting to play well. However, the Browns have shown solid flashes all over the place. I mean, I absolutely agree with everything Dylan said. I mean, I think Kaiser's the future of the franchise. I think that there was definitely some drop passing issues, and I think that the wide receiver coaches got on their butts about that throughout practice during the week and said, hey, we got to go ahead and get these passes going because, let's face it, Kaiser's a gifted athlete. He can go ahead and create the plays on his legs, too. I mean, he has some rushing touchdowns. He's showing that as well. He can move the chains. So, you know, that being said, I feel like the Jets are still kind of in a filibuster as far as they're still trying to find themselves as a team. So I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be kind of high scoring because both teams kind of are used to playing in that type of environment, and both teams are kind of, you know, carrying a little bit of momentum. So I'll actually go on an end here and say that this might be one of the higher scoring games in the NFL this week and say 42 to the Browns and 38 points to the Jets.
Wow, that's interesting. That could be a score for the next game, though, that we're picking, and that game features the Carolina Panthers and the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. And they're both 3-1, so the winner of this game will be 4-1. They'll be in very good playoff position. Panthers face Detroit. Cam Newton needs a big day in Detroit after Oikos dropped him. Adam Schefter reported that Oikos, the yogurt company, has dropped Cam Newton as their spokesperson after his comments yesterday. And after watching him score at will on the Patriots, you have to like his odds versus the Lions. Stafford plays a weak secondary. He may exploit that and get Detroit off to a 4-1 start. The Lions do enter as 3-point favorites, but I've got the Panthers winning by a field goal, 20-17 in a defensive game. But 3 of our other 5 writers have the Lions. If you count me and the 4 other people making picks, actually 3 of them have the Panthers winning also. So this is a tough game. This is without a doubt probably the toughest game to pick this week. Ryan, do you want to start us off with this before we get to Dylan here?
You know what? Absolutely. I'm really curious to see, you know, how Dylan sees my opinions on some of these things. So that being said, you know, Matthew Stafford, great quarterback, obviously, top contender in the league for like touchdowns, I believe, still. You know, going against a heavily armed Cam Newton, he's finally starting to get the weapons. They finally signed Bucky Hodges, and when the Vikings had cut him, so I feel like the Panthers are finally realizing, hey, let's build this offense around Cam Newton. I think when he came back from his injury that first game, I feel like mentally he wasn't there. He was a little cautious with his injury and everything like that as well. Honestly, I think he comes back with some fire. I think he's going to be very upset that he got dropped from this deal. I think he's going to be mad that these comments got taken out of plays. So I actually think he's going to pack some heat. You know, I don't think he's going to pack as much heat as what Chris was implying from our last conversation, but I think Panthers are going to be able to do it. And, you know, probably about 35, and I'll say that Detroit will get 28 points. I have a little bit more faith in the Carolina defensive system. Okay.
Well, I'll come in, and I will definitely bring up and say that the Lions definitely have one of the most balanced, like, approach that you can even find, like, in the NFL, like, from, you know, running pass both ways. Like, I mean, the Lions, they pass on, 57% of their plays. They're ranked 14th in the NFL, which is all good. But to be honest, I really loved, and I don't know how big of, you know, you guys are on him. I've always liked him, you know, throughout his whole career. But Julius Peppers, getting this man back on, like, I don't know if it reamped his, like, his career, reamped his, like, motivation, but having these 3.5 sacks already, almost 4 sacks in, I don't know. I just think that's a huge pressure pickup as well. And the biggest thing that I think they need to do this week, especially against the Lions, with the passing that they do already, they need to force a turnover. The Panthers haven't forced a turnover since week 1. No interceptions. That's 3 weeks of no interceptions, nothing at all. Not even fumble recovery, nothing. I just feel like if they use the same strategy they used against the Patriots, I feel like they can easily walk over the Lions with no problem. I know Matt Stafford can be MVP. He can. Especially at the beginning of the year, I really had hopes that he could go against Matt Ryan and like show him, in that game that a MVP candidate back and forth. But I really think for this game, I really just think if they can hold the outside runs for if they can hold Abdullah and all of those outside run screen plays and stuff like that, I feel like the Panthers can come through with hopefully a turnover or two, maybe a random interception off Golden Tate's hands, or some crazy little mishap that happens, and that gives the Panthers especially some more potential, and especially just some more motivation and maybe some upside for them to even come through on this game. Because especially with Kurt Coleman, they lost him at safety. Jerry Spur's going to slide in through now, who we all know is a native. He's been around. He's been around the Jets. He's been around. I don't know if he played for the Bills back then too. I'm not really sure.
He played for the Saints as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I just feel like it could be huge. And I just feel like they can walk out of Detroit with a 4-1 record. To be honest, I really don't want to say it, but I feel like they can walk out of Detroit with a win. As long as that defense shows up with the same strategy, I feel like they can pull it out.
Yeah, Taylor Decker is progressing towards a midseason return, but he's not expected to play this week. Julius Peppers has 4.5 sacks. He has 2 sacks in each of the last 2 games against the Patriots and the Week 3 opponent. I think he had a half a sack versus the Bills, or maybe he had he had 2 sacks versus the Bills. I don't know who the Panthers played on the 24th, but they won the game, and Peppers wasn't playing in that game, I don't think, or maybe he was, but I think the Panthers lost in Week 3 because they started 2-0, they lost in Week 3, and then to the Saints. I don't think he was active versus the Saints, and then he came back for the Patriots game because I don't see his numbers on this stat sheet for the Saints game, so he may have been inactive versus the Saints, but he's had 4.5 sacks. He's off to a fantastic start. If he plays, I could easily see him getting another 2 sacks in this one.
Absolutely. I agree.
So Taylor Decker out. So let's move on to the next game, which is the 4th game on our list. It features the San Francisco 49ers and the Indianapolis Colts. Hoyer's status is up in the air, and outside of this 49ers front 7, there isn't really much to be optimistic about. For the Colts, they're facing Frank Gore, and with Malcolm Smith and Reuben Foster injured, I think Frank Gore has a 100-yard game. He really tears it up on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns. I think it's going to be the Frank Gore show versus the 49ers on Sunday, and the Colts win. And my final score for this game is going to be 24-10 Colts. Dylan, what are your thoughts on this game?
I'll keep it short and simple this game. I agree completely. I was going to say exactly the same thing. When Harbaugh came out and he said that you'll never find another back like Frank Gore ever, there'll never be another person like him, I literally think they're going to just be carrying machine with Frank Gore. 20-plus kids. Just keep giving the ball up the middle, up the middle, up the middle. Plus, as well, I don't know if you guys have really focused on any of the Colts' defense as well. Now, their rookie, Hooker, is huge. He has the most interceptions in the league right now, I'm pretty sure. He's had an interception every game.
Yeah, Hooker
and
is
I think that is, that's also, like I'm going to say, is really huge as well. A lot of people are just overlooking that. And also, the person across from him with Melvin is playing great football. Last week, he got burned on a touchdown, I think, once. Maybe it wasn't burned, but it could have been like a 10, 15-yard pass or whatever. But I think the Colts secondary has been playing all right. I think their defense hasn't even been playing that bad. It's just the offense, especially with now that Brissett was here and we could see him the last 2 games play better, it was a lot better. You know what I mean? Like with Scott Tolzien starting off, their defense was on the field almost as much as as the Eagles were with Chip Kelly. This was just not fast. Like the defense would be 3 and out, right back to the offense, and you just have this terrible offense just throwing. I couldn't even understand how Scott Tolzien had his job still. So I'm very happy that they went and picked up Brissett. I think that would be huge for them, especially if luck does come back in week 6. Maybe not. Maybe week 7. Who knows? But it's nice to see him actually out here, like I was telling you earlier, Chris, throwing with that arm sleeve on. He's out there moving around the pocket in practice, doing some plays and huddles. So I really do think for this game, the Colts will win. And I feel like all Frank Gore's hands, maybe a percent rushing touchdown as well. Maybe it's all rushing touchdowns. Maybe a passing touchdown in there as well. But I think the Colts can come out with another win, and they'll leave the West with hopefully a good win. Like, I mean, and it's at home as well. And that's another big thing that I didn't even see until now. Like, I just feel like sitting in India as well at Lucas Oil Stadium, I think it'll be a great game. And like I said, it's going to be a Frank Gore show. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, right.
Wow. Okay. So I'd actually disagree with you guys. I don't think it'll be the Frank Gore show. You know, I'm just kind of going over some of his stats, and the reason I say that is it looks like this season he hasn't hit higher than 57 yards, and that was against Cleveland.
Okay.
You know, and he's played some pretty, semi-weak defenses that have allowed teams to kind of get on him as well. Like, you had Seattle a little bit. I mean, they've been playing a little shaky as well. Different teams like that. So I feel like, Frank Gore will get a good game, but he's not going to have 100 yards. I think maybe he has 60 yards tops, maybe 64. That being said, though, I mean, I don't trust the Colts quarterback right now as far as coming off and everything like that. I mean, I just don't have the space. I think that the 49ers have changed their culture and the way that they're thinking. I mean, look who they drafted in the first round. They drafted 2 defensive players. They're getting on that defense. That being said, look at the Colts defense. Who am I going to go ahead and take in the quarterback battle right now? I'm going to go ahead and take Air Hoyer right now. You know what I'm saying?
Brian Hoyer's injured, though, along with Luck. So Bethart might start on Sunday, the Iowa quarterback.
So either quarterback's out. So, I mean, I'll still go ahead and take the 49ers on that. And that's just because of the defensive culture. I mean, look, you got John Lynch stepping in. I think that in this case, the Colts are still trying to figure out who they are, too. I mean, they've been rebuilding. They've been trying to figure out, hey, what happens if Andrew Luck got hurt? They've been trying to figure that mystery out now for a few seasons, too. So I'll say that the 49ers get it out 28 to, say, 25. I think it's still going to be a close game, but it's not going to be anything impressive.
Okay, the next game features...
I'm just confused as to where you guys think Frank Gore is going to have a 100-yard game, that's all.
Well, Reuben Foster and Malcolm Smith are both inactive. They're both injured for the 49ers. That's why I was saying it could happen. I don't think Gore's going to have many 100-yard games this year, but I think this could be one of the games where he takes off and has 100 yards. Just because it's his former team, there's that extra motivation.
And the last thing I'll say, too, just to add on to the QB play for the Colts, I mean, I know you might not think that, you might think highly about picking up percent or whatever, but I really think, that is huge, especially on his feet as well. And you saw in college, I didn't see, he definitely, an average QB, he can be above average at times, but I feel like with the help he had in New England as well for a short period, wasn't that long, but I feel like that sort of coaching help and the help he has for QB coaches there as well, especially maybe Tom Brady helped him a little bit. I'm not sure how that all went, but with those 2 rushing touchdowns he had, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, I just feel like Jacoby Brissett can bring more to the game as well. And I feel like if they can get some pressure off of Frank Gore, I feel like Frank Gore can still get a decent amount of carries and maybe break a couple of tackles and have this finally one game where it's over 60 yards, hopefully. And I definitely can see him getting a touchdown, maybe even Turbin a touchdown down low on the 1 or 2 yard line, I just feel like the Colts will definitely beat the 49ers, though. But I feel like Frank Gore will still have at least, maybe not a 100-yard game, but at least a touchdown and hopefully, at least 80 yards, hopefully. Let's say that.
Good
all right,
stuff.
You know what? I'll go ahead and I'll agree.
Next game we feature is the Miami Dolphins and the Tennessee Titans, and this game is in Miami. Now, everyone on Draftutopia is picking the Titans. Marcus Mariota's status is up in the air. The game is in Miami, and I honestly feel like picking an upset. Yes, even after we did the live stream last week where Jay Cutler was just brutal in London, I feel like taking the Dolphins in an upset this week. Something tells me they're going to pull the upset, and I'm going 10-9. If I'm in a confidence pool, I'm putting 1 point on this game because the Titans are probably favored. They are favored by 3, so... And Mariota might play, so if he does, I will switch this pick back to the Titans. But right now, I am taking the Miami Dolphins in an upset, 10-9 over the Titans in a defensive game. This is probably the first pick Dylan disagrees with me on.
This game is just overall just isn't even a fun one to even really think about for me. I just feel like if Mariota doesn't play and they have Brandon Weeden playing at quarterback, I don't even want to watch this game. I wouldn't even want to look at it. That would be an absolute boring game. I feel like the Dolphins, to be honest, I don't know. I don't like the Titans at all. I never liked the Titans that much. I don't want you to be too biased against them, but I think
it's
the
Matt
Dolphins,
Castle, Brandon Weeden, and Jay Cutler. Those are the quarterbacks that could be playing on Sunday in this game.
Yeah, exactly. And especially if Matt Castle plays too. I don't know. I'll just keep this short with me for this one. I'm not going to get too far into this, but I definitely think the Dolphins will take this, especially being at home too. So it's an easy 1 o'clock game, nice and early in Miami. So I mean, who knows? Maybe J.J. can get moving, or maybe the defense, Landry, Juice. Maybe, who knows? I'm not gonna get too far into it, but I just don't think if Mariota's not playing, then we can just count the Titans out indefinitely. Like, that's just a huge thing for me. A huge red flag. If Mariota's not playing, you cannot trust Matt Castle or Brandon Weeden, either or, playing those. So I'm going to say that's a no-go. Give me the Dolphins, and I'll take that.
Yeah, I've got the Dolphins too. Ryan, what are your thoughts in this game?
You know, this is kind of like, hey, do you want your left hand chopped off or your right hand chopped off? It's kind of like, hey, what game is this? And then the quarterback play, it's kind of a toss-up. I mean, Jay Cutler kind of shows up to throw pick sixes and interceptions. I mean, basically turnovers. And then, honestly, I mean, Marcus Mariota, of course, he's going to be a big factor. But honestly, I think you guys have a little bit too low. You're a little too low on Brandon Weeden. So I'm actually going to go with the Titans on this. I feel like, because, just hear me out. The Titans have a good offensive line now. He's going to be able to get in protection. I think that the offensive line is also going to be able to carry that run game still. I mean, look how well those we can run.
Weeden had good offensive lines in Dallas and Cleveland and still was terrible, though. That's why I've just not...
That's true.
If this is the only game I get on cable... If this is the only game I get on cable, I want to see drunk Tiger Woods memes over all the quarterbacks' faces. That's the only way to keep me tuned into this one.
Am I going to sit here and say that this is going to be a high-scoring game? No. Am I going to say that this is going to be a high-pick game? Oh, yeah, this is going to be a fun game to watch. This is going to be like two high school teams going at it. You know, I'll say that it'll be like 13-9, and I'll say the Titans win this.
All right. We'll move on to the next game, which features Buffalo and Cincinnati, and it's in Cincinnati. Buffalo heads into Cincinnati 3-1. The Bengals may be coming off their first win, but they face a team that's beat two stingy defenses with Denver and Atlanta. Maybe A.J. Green can expose Tre'Davious White. If Green can do that, Cincinnati will win. The Bengals are favored by 3. I'm going to say Buffalo wins this 23-20, even though the Bengals are favored by 3. I just think Tyrod Taylor's been phenomenal these last 2 games. And he's just going to continue to ball out, regardless of whether or not Cordy Glenn returns or not. Marcel Darius returned to the Atlanta game last week. He had a huge presence. He's the heart of that defense. So I like Buffalo, 23-20. Bills win and improve to 4-1.
Okay.
It's in Cincinnati, though.
Would you want me to take the floor?
Yeah. Do you want...
Yeah.
Who do you want? I feel like Ryan deserves a shot to open up this game because
go ahead. Let Ryan. Go ahead.
You know, so hear me out. I feel like the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll admit it. I was wrong. Go ahead and call me out on that all day about the Cincinnati Bengals. I thought they were going to win the division and be this amazing team, and Andy Dalton's going to be the star. Obviously, that's not the case. A terrible pick by me. I think that as a Broncos fan, I saw us lose to the Bills, and I saw a great superstar in Tyrod Taylor. I saw somebody that I wish Denver would have traded for, and LA would have pushed way more. I don't know why we didn't. I would have given up Paxton Lynch and maybe a second round or third round pick. That's how good he is. just watching him play, if you put him behind better coaching and a better offensive line and, like, unit, my God, Tyrod could easily lead a team to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
So that being said, I'm going to say that the Buffalo Bills win this. I feel like they're actually picking up momentum. They got chemistry, and they're learning how to not necessarily play together, but play for each other. So I feel like the Bills are actually going to win this about, I'll say kind of high scoring, 35. I feel like Cincinnati's still kind of disarray, so I'll give them 26.
All right. I definitely will add in a couple key things here. I won't try to overlap too much, but I will say that this game is very crucial for not even just, it's crucial for both teams, but to be honest, in the long run, which I've always like held on to this the last couple of years, but this game is literally so big for Marvin Lewis. Like, I'll say this because Marvin Lewis, to be honest, after these last couple of postseason one and done, like all these like ordeals, I just think that he's a good coach, but I just feel like if this happens again and they start going downhill, it's like it's time for them. It's like time for the Bengals to play football now. And if they don't play now, and if the Bills come in throwing the ball deep like they just did last week, Howard Taylor starts doing his thing, going off, throwing the ball deep, running around, spreading the pocket. If the Bengals lose, especially by a field goal or any sort of short coming, especially in Cincinnati, they will boo again, and they will boo on that field hard. And I'll tell you that Marvin Lewis, if they lose this game and they start going downhill, he will not have a job after this year. I promise you that right now.
So are you both taking the Bills then?
Yeah, sorry, I will take the Bills, definitely. I'm just saying that was my key interest is just Marvin Lewis. Like, if this team doesn't step up like they have, or they, have typically, like we've seen, they have great regular seasons, and then they come in the postseason, and it's a one and done, they get smoked, Andy Dalton's thrown 3 picks, and I just feel like, as well, Andy Dalton is not the key for this team. He's throwing the ball to AJ Green in triple coverage almost every play. 4 out of 5 plays, you're throwing it deep to AJ Green. Deep. I just feel like this team is just... I just feel like this team is not going to beat the Bills, especially at home. So, yes, I will take the Bills, definitely.
Yes, the Chargers and the Giants. It's in New York. Los Angeles is extremely banged up in the secondary. However, their pass rushing tandem of Bosa and Ingram will get pressure on Eli. For the Giants, they have the weapons to pick apart this Chargers secondary. Pickem, Marshall, Ingram. As long as Eli makes good decisions, the Giants have a shot. They're favored by 3.5. I'm going to pick the Giants to win overtime 26-20, and Odell Beckham Jr. gets fined for pretending to be a dog and peeing on one of the officials like he did last week, but he ends up doing it near an NFL official, and it looks like he's peeing on the official, so the NFL fines him for that. But the Giants win 26-20. Dylan,
I'm stuck with a visual.
To be honest, I'll probably have to swing in and say the same thing. Even though I hate the Giants with a passion, they will definitely get their first win because the Chargers are just an absolute joke. They have no fans. Coming from an Eagles fan who just watched this game on Red Zone, there was fans to the Chargers who had first row seating, had to leave their seats and go sit in the nosebleeds because there was so much Philadelphia fans there that Chargers fans were really disgusted or even annoyed to sit down in their own seats because of how much of the other opposing team was there. And it's literally sad that they have no fans. The fan base is falling apart. They switched over to the stadium. They're trying to make a new one. And I just feel like the Chargers are a disgraceful football team, and I'll go with the Giants taking that win easily.
Okay, Ryan, who do you think will win this game?
You guys definitely make very good points. Normally I'm on the Chargers bandwagon, and this time I'm actually against them. That's just because as an observatory fan of the AFC West, I got to say that they seem like they're in disarray. Yes, I feel like the Giants have all the weapons finally put together. I think that this is going to be one of those wins that kind of gets them flowing and going. They've never really been famous for starting strong, so I don't know why I've always kind of picked them for the win, but I feel like this is going to be kind of the game that gets them going. I think that Eli Manning does beat up that secondary. I feel like they're going to have a good run game as well. Look at how that rookie tight end that they have has been playing as well. So I feel like Eli Manning's going to have about a 3 or 4 touchdown game. I would say that this is probably one of those weeks to go ahead and start him on the fantasy league as well. I think the Giants win probably, I'll say 36, and I'll say that the Chargers probably get about 28.
Now, Chris, the last thing I'm going to throw in before we move on with the fan stuff, too, I don't know if you guys have heard anything into it or looked into it. It was definitely a last night post. But the NFL is trying to respond to just reports that, like, the Chargers are already talking about, going back to San Diego. There's multiple talks on this. Like, I don't know if you guys have even looked at any of these or looked at any of, like, these theories or any of just the reports at all. But, like, just like I said, like, just even having that as well, no fan base, no momentum, really just going into, I mean, to be honest, this could actually even play out for them, playing on the road. And I'm not saying it's going to change anything, but maybe not being booed and maybe not being, ridiculed or criticized every second, every play. Maybe Philip Rivers can keep doing what he's doing. I mean, I guess the Eagles, he didn't have that bad of a game. I mean, he was pretty efficient. He threw for 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Even Ty Williams had a huge game, almost 120 yards on 5 receptions. I just feel like the team's not that bad of a team, but at home, especially when your own fans are not even there showing up, what are you showing up to play for? Like, there's nothing to play for anyways. I'm surprised that they even had a close game against the Eagles. That was, like, I was pretty surprised about that. But yeah, and that's about it. I just feel like it would be crazy if they moved back to San Diego in a couple years, or like a year or two, they're already back in San Diego again, or something else happens with this team. I just don't see them staying there or staying with this process of moving and doing all this stuff.
Well, they did agree to move into the same stadium as the LA Rams, and that was a terrible decision because I think a lot of people thought the Raiders should have gone with the Rams and the Chargers should have stayed in San Diego. So we'll see how that plays out, but we'll move on to the next game. Features Jacksonville and Pittsburgh. It's in Pittsburgh. They're an 8.5-point favorite. I'm taking the Steelers 28-20. The Jaguars cover the spread, but the Steelers find a way to win. I just can't see the Steelers losing. The Giants, the Patriots, and the Steelers are the first 3 locks of the week on DraftyTopia.com on our picks page. I think there's only 4 locks out of the 14 games this weekend. So, yeah, I'm going with the Steelers here. I just can't see the Jaguars winning, even though they have had their moments this year.
Nick, do you want to take the floor or do you want me to go again?
Why don't you start off this time, and then we'll go to Ryan for the next game.
I'll just say real quick that if Bell comes out, is on tandem, and this dude's back to what we've seen, especially last week with those whole touchdowns, if we see him back, the Steelers will literally give this man the ball every play. Now, saying that, I really love the Jaguars' defense. I love the re-amp they've done over the past couple of years, and I really think that Campbell on that D-line he has changed the momentum of this line this year. You can tell. I just feel like this defense is highly anticipated, and if Big Ben's back there, like in that first game, I knew he was rusty. I know his mind wasn't in it. That's okay, but if he's back there slow, he's not moving the pocket that much, if stuff starts happening, the Jaguars can come out with at least 4 sacks, 5 sacks again, maybe have another crazy game like that again. I think this game could actually be closer than what people can put a point on. So I can't give a spread for it. I definitely think that the Jaguars will definitely win this game, maybe by a field goal, maybe by a touchdown, but I feel like, especially in Pittsburgh, I feel like this defense can still come out on top and show people why Big Ben was even thinking about retirement in the first place and why after this year he didn't want to play anyways. So I just feel like the Jaguars are a reamped, very young, hungry team, vicious defense, and turnovers can happen quick. And if Big Ben starts throwing the ball around, he's trying to move around the pocket, get stripped, anything can happen. I feel the Jaguars can take pride and composure in that and maybe move that into points and actually change the tide of the game. And I'll take the Jaguars.
So this is the first game we disagree on, and you are taking the Jaguars in an upset. I like it, Dylan. What do you think, Ryan?
I'm actually going to go with the Steelers. I feel like that they're probably going to end up making Blake Bortles look pretty bad again. So I think that the Steelers end up upsetting, or not, well, I guess it's not really upset, but I feel like they end up actually destroying the Jaguars, probably 31-14. I feel like we kind of go back to seeing a mental lapse of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that the Steelers start to pick it up around this time of the year because they realize that they got to start beating the teams that they aren't going to be able to see in the playoffs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, that definitely makes sense. Yeah.
Next game features the Arizona Cardinals and the Philadelphia Eagles from Philadelphia, and I have the Eagles winning this one 21-13. Marcus Golden, the pass rusher next to Chandler Jones, is on injured reserve. He's out for the year. They're not going to be able to get as much pressure on Carson Wentz. I think both these teams could have success offensively, but I just have more faith in Carson Wentz right now than I do in Carson Palmer. So Wentz beats Palmer. The Eagles are 4-1. The Cardinals fall to 2-3. Dylan's a huge Eagles fan, so Ryan, I want to get your thoughts on this game. Will his Eagles deliver before we get to Dylan's thoughts on this game?
I'm actually taking the Eagles on this. I mean, honestly, I have more faith in Carson Wentz than anything. I mean, Arizona, they were supposed to be playing a lot better, projected at the beginning of the season, and they played really disappointing. As far as the Eagles go, I feel like that they're finally going to be able to get a win and maybe start to get more momentum. I think that Carson Wentz is probably going to have a 2-touchdown game now.
Now, with me, I'll just say one quick thing here. This is where the Eagles are every year. They're either undefeated right now or they have one loss usually. And this is where every Eagles fan is all high in doubt. We're going to the playoffs this year. We're winning the division. It's going to be a no-brainer. And then what happens? The defense gets injured. Something else happens, and then our offense is on the field too much, and then we're moving, and then the offense is actually on the bench too much, and the defense is out there too much. What needs to happen right now is that the Eagles just need to keep playing their games. Like I said, against that Chargers game, I was worried at the end. That game was kind of gross towards the end. We got lucky, especially with that field. Like, the field goal was awesome. Everything was great for the past couple of weeks, but I seriously feel like this game, I'm not going to sleep on this game at all, even being an Eagles fan. The pass rush needs to return to its form. We need Graham getting the sacks. We need to play with a heavy rush form. And, I mean, like I was just telling you guys, like, Rivers just blew up our defense. He had absolutely went off. And with the Week 5 matchup with Palmer, the Cardinals have, I'm pretty sure, if I remember, a deep receiving core. Like, they don't have, a short staff. I feel like that if Palmer can move the ball, I just feel like the offensive line is still gross. The Cardinals have given up 17 sacks throughout the first 4 games, the worst rate in the league. So I definitely think if Philly can jump on that and get that pass rush like we've always done, get Cox back there, just get a couple, maybe some CB blitz, maybe even a Malcolm Jenkins blitz down the middle, and just a couple of different blitz packages, maybe a little different things, and I feel like that would be huge, especially with the CBs. Keenan Allen is an animal last week, okay? That's a little different. Yeah, it's a little different. We need to keep every Cardinals wide receiver in front of the CBs this week. No Burns, no 5 yards down the field thinking you can still, turn around with your head and turn back and catch a ball so 5 yards in the field. I just feel like that the CBs need to step up, and we need to, that we've just seen, I'll just say this real quick, after every Eagles fan has stressed this the last week, even last year, like let's say the last 2 years, give LeGarrette Blount the football like we just saw. Give this man the ball like the Patriots did as well. The man just came off 136 yards. If you give this man the football up the middle in I-formation packages or even normal split packages, not in shotgun handoff mode, like Chip Kelly was doing with DeMarco Murray or with other people as well, and it was not working. If you give this man and Corey Clement the ball. Corey, I'm telling you, is one of the most underrated draft picks I've seen. No one even wants to talk about him. Corey Clement's a big body, and I feel like if they get their running game moving and going, the Cardinals will lose this game, and I'm going to take the Eagles, obviously, by at least a touchdown, maybe 2.
Interesting. Next game features Seattle and the Rams, and it's in Los Angeles. I'm going to take the Rams in this one, but Seattle, it comes down to whether or not their defense can step up and make the big plays. They want to seize control of first place in the NFC West. They have to get a road win. They're 0-2 against the Rams whether it be in St. Louis or Los Angeles, each of the last 2 years. And this is a game where the Rams just win. The Rams just win when they're at home against Seattle. So I'm going to take the Rams 17-13. It's a defensive game, and Goff finds a way to make a game-winning touchdown at the end. The Rams improved to 4-1, and they really build off that early season momentum.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely agree.
Good afternoon, guys.
Hey, Tracy, what's up? Hey, Ryan, what do you think of this game?
You know, honestly, I really like the Rams in this one. Usually I'll pick the Seahawks, but Jared Goff has been playing like a boss lately, and I think that Cooper Kupp was an excellent draft pick as well. I mean, we've kind of scouted him as well throughout the season. And wow, just finally the offense is finally clicking. The coaching is there. I feel like this coach is finally going to be able to make a name for himself. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the Rams actually kind of steal one away. To me, this is my upset game, even though it's kind of a toss-up, I guess. But a lot of people probably favor Seattle because of how powerful that defense is. But you got to admire Jared Goff, so I'll go ahead and say that the St. Louis Rams win this one about 24-21.
Okay, Tracy, what are your thoughts on some of today's winners before we get to the next late game?
What game? I'm sorry.
This is the Rams-Seahawks game. I'll give you a chance to catch up on some of the games we already went over at the end of the show, but who do you like in this Rams-Seahawks game?
I'm going with the Seahawks in the close one, 28-21.
That's a good pick. The next game features the Baltimore Ravens and the Oakland Raiders. It's in Oakland. Derek Carr will be inactive for that game, and I think they find a way to win this game, as I think the Raiders lose, the Ravens win, and this game goes to Baltimore 20, Oakland 19. Tracy, you want to start us off with your thoughts from this game?
I'm going with the Oakland Raiders. I think they get the win at home. I think the defense will pressure Joe Flacco and force him into some interception. I'm going to go Oakland Raiders in a close one, 17-14.
Interesting. Ryan, what do you think?
Wow. I'm actually going Ravens all day. I think we finally see the old Joe Flacco. I think we actually see him to probably throw about 2 or 3 touchdowns this game. I think that we see the Ravens defense actually come back and bounce back a lot. I think that without Derek Carr, this Oakland team's kind of a little bit of a shaky mess. I think that Marshawn Lynch is going to end up not being as much of a leader as we would hope that he would be as a veteran. So I'm actually going to say that Baltimore wins by a pretty decent margin of probably, I'll say, 28 to about 25, 24, somewhere around there. I'm not giving them too much credit on that.
Dylan, what are your thoughts on this game?
To be honest, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I know I say that a lot and I drag it on, but all I say is that if even Manuel has to start this game, I feel like that Amari Cooper is going to be getting targets left and right. So if the Ravens can basically keep the CBs focused on Cooper, definitely, don't get me wrong, Crabtree, I think, is, people do not think of him being better than Cooper, but in my opinion, I think Crabtree is better than Amari Cooper. I don't care what anybody says for that. Stats can prove that. And I just feel like Amari Cooper, though, with the trust and doing these little small slants like that, I feel like he'll get a decent amount of early targets to try to help this QB movement without Carr. But I definitely think the Ravens can probably win, but I'll definitely still say the Raiders at home, though. And I'll definitely say by at least a touchdown, maybe 2 if Flacco comes out flat-footed again and does what he does best and throw interceptions. Then, yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders by at least 2 touchdowns.
Very interesting stuff. Next game features, I believe it's Dallas and Green Bay in Dallas. I've got the Cowboys winning this game. I'll get the score really quickly here. I think I have the Cowboys winning this one 31-27. They're 2-point favorites, the Cowboys are. And I think the Packers come out, they play very good offensively, but Dallas just plays better. And it's like the last week's Rams-Cowboys game, but Dallas ends up on the winning end. But Dallas is 2-3. Dallas and Green Bay both are 3-2, and that shakes things up in the NFC a little bit more. So I'm going with Dallas in this one. I'm going to go take the Cowboys to win. Dylan, you want to start us off with this one?
Yeah, real quick. I'll just say the Packers have been in this position. I feel like the Cowboys, I feel like the Packers might come out with a couple different formations on defense to try to trick around the Cowboys a little bit. They're going to use a couple different, because, I mean, the Packers used their base personnel against the Bears, and, like, they had issues with the vertical passing game. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but there was some problems, definitely for the verticals that was going on there, at least in my opinion. But the Cowboys, they're a different story. They're not the Bears, they're not the Rams team. They got Dez, they got Terrence, they got Cole Beasley. They just basically create that run-the-pass threat that makes the Cowboys' offense even, dominant and good in the first place. So I just feel like if Capers can bring out like a good chess game, maybe even switches up a couple different things and not use their base personnel that they always use, I feel like that it could be a difference. And I will definitely take Green Bay over Dallas, especially, and I'll take Aaron Rodgers bringing that home. Definitely, I feel like that can definitely happen for them, in my opinion.
What do you think, Tracy?
I'm picking the Dallas. I'm sorry, the Dallas Cowboys are a 2-point favorite. I'm not content with your secondary. I think Aaron Rodgers will have at least 3 to 4 touchdowns. I'm going Green Bay. I'm going Green Bay Packers 33-30.
Nice, man. Nice. Good job, Tracy. I respect that.
And it's not because I'm a Washington Redskins fan, but I don't trust Dallas secondary. I think, I'm sorry, Lawrence is having a good season, but the secondary, I don't know, they're giving up a lot of points.
They have.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm also going with the Packers on this. It's not that I don't trust Dallas' secondary. It's more like I trust Aaron Rodgers to eat up Dallas' secondary that much. I think that we're going to be able to hear Joe Buck be able to really be happy about Aaron Rodgers getting those 4 touchdowns. But I think it's going to be like 28-14. I think that Dallas is actually going to struggle, and I actually predict that we see an Ezekiel Elliott meltdown.
Oh, I like that, Nick. That's nice.
Oh.
All right, we'll move on to the Sunday night game. It features the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans in Houston. I am picking the Texans in an upset win to beat the Chiefs. My final score for that game is going to be 17-15. Texans over the Chiefs.
Wow.
So Ryan, I'll start with you. What do you think? What do you think of this game? Do you think the Texans can pull the upset and Watson leads them to a victory, or do you think the Chiefs are 5-0 after this game?
As much as I think that the Chiefs are going to be successful this season, especially with the play of Alex Smith, who's played absolutely wonderfully. However, he hasn't played against like the Broncos defense or like a strong Texans defense. So I'm actually going to go ahead and say that this game is going to be my upset of the week. I think that the Texans actually win. I think we see Deshaun Watson air it out. I think we see those 4 or 5 touchdowns this game, and I think we see those 350-plus yards. I also think that we're going to see across the league now. And I feel like playing against this superb Texans defense, who last year, I'm not going to lie, I didn't give them enough credit, and then finally they proved me wrong. So this year I'm going to go ahead and give them the full credit that they deserve. I actually think that J.J. Watt's going to get 2 sacks this game, and I think that Alex Smith shows why he's inefficient, and I'll say 2 interceptions to 1 touchdown.
Very interesting stuff. Tracy, what do you think? Yeah.
Well, me and Brad Noble have talked about this matchup for over a week and a half now, so I really have to give him credit. I know I talked about his team in the past, but Deshaun Watson has really surprised me, and I think that his streak will continue. I think he will have at least 4 touchdowns against that Kansas City Chiefs defense, but on the other hand, they have to be able to stop the run of Kareem Hunt. So I'm going with the upset, Houston Texans, 35-28.
And I'm just going to stop everybody right there and say that's not going to happen at all. And the Chiefs are going to blow right past the Texans. They got the number one rushing. I don't care what this matchup right here is so overhyped. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, the Texans are going to blow it right off the rip. I already know this. Like if people don't think or believe that the Chiefs are the real deal right now, it's almost stupid to say in a way. Like the Texans can boast their 2 big wide receivers or whatever they want to do. Like the Chiefs have literally dominated the whole game throughout the whole second half, each game they played so far. I don't care what anybody says. J.J. Watt can lead a formidable Texas front 7. That's great. And he can do whatever he wants.
2-game losing streak against the Texans and then the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. They lose both of those games. And if Derek Carr's back for Week 7 in Oakland, the Raiders could win that game too. So I think the Chiefs might begin trending downward starting this week, but they'll still make the playoffs. They'll still get a wild card game. They'll still win that. They'll make it back to the divisional round. But we'll see. I mean,
I'm just like the last thing I'll say is just, especially with the Chiefs defense, and I know that you guys said that Deshaun could probably break out this game. He's been very impressive. I can't say that he's not. Obviously, he's been playing very well, but you have to look at it as well as the teams have had easily great success at getting after Texans offense and their quarterbacks. Like they have surrendered 17 quarterback sacks for 4 games, which is tied for the most in the league already. And the Chiefs have one of the best pass rushers in Houston, who's had 15 quarterback pressures and 4 sacks in 4 games. Like, I don't know. I just think that the Texans, it says right here, ranked 31st in pass blocking as a group. All right? Like, allowed a total of 59 pressures in 4 games. I feel like the Texans, especially even at home, Deshaun Watson's going to have a tough time with the pressure. He has his feet in his game, and he can score on his feet as well, or move the ball on his feet. But I still feel like the Chiefs, this might be their last time win right here, and then like you just said, Chris, their schedule coming up might be obviously tougher. It might start declining a little bit. But I still think they're coming off a huge hot streak. Tyreek has a great game as well, and even a Kareem does on the ground. I just feel like Alex Smith goes back and does his normal efficiency stuff, and the Chiefs will come out on top of that game.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I can kind of see where you're going that way, but I don't know. I guess I just trust Deshaun Watson and the way that
I got you. Of course. I just feel like the Chiefs are one of those teams that people just like, they're on a field, anything can happen. The team's not that great, but and honestly, at least on paper, with all their stats, I think it's the Texans. I just feel like that game everyone's watching 8:30 at night, the prime time win for the Chiefs.
Fair enough.
I don't know if I don't think Joe Buck's going to call the Cowboys-Packers game because I think he's going to be calling one of the baseball games in the postseason on Fox, depending
Joe
which
Buck, wow.
on Sunday.
Yeah, I think you're right, Chris. I'm thinking maybe Clay Aikman might call the Cowboys game.
Aikman will be solo, or he might have one of the co-hosts, because that's what usually happens in October. Buck usually doesn't call the NFL games during baseball postseason.
Yeah. I'll make a bold prediction. I'll say that Joe Buck says Aaron Rodgers at least twice during his baseball cast.
be great.
All right.
Yeah, especially if he's calling the Indians game. He calls Aaron Judge Aaron Rodgers. I could just see it now.
That's hilarious. I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Packers and Cowboys game is
like they would play that on Daily Snark and the Kicker and all the other sports sites, Total Pro Sports. They would just tear Buck a new one if he did that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
It'd be funny though.
It would be funny. It'd be hilarious.
He'd do it too.
Man.
Like that's all I can think about now is Joe Buck. Whenever Aaron Judge hits a home run or something, all I can think about is Joe Buck calling him Aaron Rodgers and just screwing up.
Are we going to see him accidentally drop an F-bomb afterward when he realizes that he said what he said, and he just hears, oh.
Yep. I can see that happen.
Yeah, we had so much fun joking about Joe Buck calling Aaron Judge Aaron Rodgers. We forgot to get to our final game, which is the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. Mitchell Trubisky's debut on Monday Night Football. I'm going to go with the Bears in this one. They get the win.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bears. Mr. Trubisky's season debut at home, 21-17.
Yeah.
Now, one thing, guys, I just want your opinions on. What do you guys think about the Vikings picking up Stephen Ridley here to fill Dalvin Cook's spot for now? What do we got thoughts on that for?
I would have to look more at his stats, to be honest with you. I was also told that a little while ago. To be honest, you really can't replace Dalvin Cook. I mean, let's face it, he had a great season. But, I mean, honestly, though, think about it like this, too. Look at the success that all the other Minnesota Vikings running backs have had to running the ball. So maybe it is the system, the way that the game plan's designed. So, you know, you got to take this into consideration, too. I scouted Mitch Trubisky before the season and everything. You also have to consider Minnesota as the best secondary. I mean, look at who they have in there. They have the Smith. They have Rhodes. I mean, they have a solid defensive culture instilled in that team. So, I mean, you take a rookie quarterback and throw him into, you know, the purple people eaters like that. I mean, gosh, I mean, you're looking at least like a 21-14 game, and I think Minnesota wins. I think they Minnesota gets the base.
Fair enough.
So Ryan's going with the Vikings. Who are you taking, Dylan?
To be honest, it would be cool to watch Trubisky have, like, a nice first game. You know what I mean? It would be cool to have him come out and, like, you know, not obviously shine in a spotlight and have some crazy sort of historic night, but I definitely think over Mike Glennon that's definitely a big difference there, and I think that Trubisky can move in the pocket definitely more, definitely move the ball around, hopefully, and I think that, to be honest, at home, I'll take the Bears as well. I will take the Bears, maybe by a field goal, I would say. I'm not going to give a prime score, but yeah, I would say probably a field goal, definitely, if anything.
Yeah.
Awkward.
All right, Tracy, go ahead and break down the rest of your winners before we wrap up the show. For week 5.
I'll just pick my week 5. I have the Patriots, Indianapolis Colts, Buffalo Bills, Detroit Lions, Arizona Cardinals. The Chargers will get their first win of the season against the Giants. I have the Tennessee Titans, New York Jets, Pittsburgh Steelers, Oakland Raiders, Seahawks, Green Bay Packers, Houston Texans, Chicago Bears.
Was Tracy here when we talked about the Cardinals-Eagles game, or was he not there for that?
Well, we talked about the Cardinals-Eagles game. We all said Carson Wentz was better than Carson Palmer, and we talked about how the Eagles would win, Dylan. If you want to give any quick thoughts on that, you're welcome.
No, my big thing, I was going to ask Tracy real quick, because I don't know if he actually explained. I don't know if he was here for that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just want to know why he's choosing the Cardinals over the Eagles. That's the only thing I was asking him. I just want to know his thoughts about it.
I just feel like they have the better defense.
Better defense? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That's it.
That's a fair reason.
I don't think that's true at all, but yeah. All right. We'll go with that.
All right.
I mean, don't give me one. Don't give me one. I mean, Philadelphia Eagles are they have a good football.
All right. We'll see. We'll see you guys soon. We'll see the Redskins soon enough.
Yeah, they're on a bye week this week. Other teams on a bye week besides the Washington Redskins include the Atlanta Falcons, who have 2 weeks to reflect on their home loss to Buffalo. We also have the New Orleans Saints on a bye week. They're probably partying in London, or they're eating crab, gumbo, emeralds. I don't know what they're doing during their bye week. I really don't want to know. And besides Tracy's Washington Redskins on the bye week, the other team on a bye week is the Denver Broncos. They better come into McDonald's today. They're on a bye week. You got to make Ryan happy on a bye week.
Real quick for you guys as well, what do you guys have been thinking about Trevor Siemian playing? Like, how do you guys think for his QB play? A lot of people, were expecting him to be awful this year. We're expecting him to, have a down year, but I think he's been doing okay at least. I haven't watched really a lot of the Broncos games, only besides on Red Zone. But what are you guys' thoughts on Trevor playing at all?
This is one of those things where he flashes a brilliant thing to get touchdowns, so really trying to get the point in. I think our defense is going to be the key factor that carries it this year. But I think that as long as you make good decisions and just plays the ball more accurately, I think that he has the potential to really break out. It really needs to focus a little bit more on making sure that he makes all of his leads the trigger. And then just to take his time and just breathe, one quick deep breath before throwing that ball. Because a couple of times, he has a few people is like very throwing and kind of taking mistakes. But other than that, I think he's playing good. I just want to see him continue to progress.
All right. I want to hear for a Broncos fan, so I want to see what your thoughts are on him.
I miss Tebow.
Who do you guys have in the Cleveland game?
Oh, yeah, that was a good conversation, Tracy. We talked about that can really go either way, but I think me and Nick shined upon that Kaiser is definitely, we think at least, is definitely the future of the franchise, in my opinion. I think Kaiser's a wonderful quarterback. And just like how Nick said, we have, no, I think it was Chris. Chris said we had Myles Garrett's first game this week, so I just feel like it can really go either way, but I definitely still pick the Browns over that game because I don't think the Jets were going to be coming up on top. But, yeah, my pick was the Browns, definitely.
Is Myles Garrett playing that game?
Yeah, I think it's his first game, Chris, right? He's playing this game?
Yes.
Yeah, so, yeah, we talked about, I don't know, Chris, you picked the Browns too, right? Or you picked the Jets?
I picked the Jets. Okay. I picked the Browns. I didn't pick the Jets. My mind's playing tricks on me. I'm trying to promote one of the picks on the site, but I picked the Browns.
All right, yeah, so me and Chris picked the Browns, and I don't think Nick picked the Jets. You didn't pick the Jets either, right?
Just real quick, it's close. You got 4 letters as far as the name. It's Ryan.
No, I picked the Jets also.
Okay. All right.
But, I also went with the Browns. I mean, dude, Kaiser, he's playing with such good momentum. How could you argue against Kaiser? I mean,
I know, right?
And then on top of that, he's saying that he's been able to scramble around in the pocket, been able to make plays, and at least show some kind of light in Cleveland. Finally,
seriously,
it's running around. What do you think, Dylan? I feel like that they're starting to finally turn around.
Tracy, I want to hear, what do you think about Josh McCown coming back in and playing the Browns again? Do you think he's going to have, a chip on his shoulder, always going to throw? Is he going to be running and gunning and throwing a ball up all day? Or do you think Anderson might have a good game? Do you think even Matt Forte might have it? Is Matt Forte's name even relevant anymore? Does anyone even talk about Matt Forte? Because I don't think he even, has even done anything this year either. I'm not sure. I haven't really seen any Jets highlights or really, anything about the Jets that much, so... Besides Josh McCown, the last 2 weeks had those decently numbered games. What do you think, Tracy, about the Jets?
I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure about Matt Forte, but from a couple of highlights that I have seen the New York Jets in the red zone, I think their defense, I think their special team and their defense has improved the last 2 weeks. So,
yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
But you never know. I mean, the Cleveland Browns, they have played games. They have been in the game like all 4 weeks. They just their secondary recovery has given us a deep pass. So you never know what will happen.
I really enjoy Duke Johnson. I'll just finish this real quick, and I'll just say, like, I really think Duke Johnson should be especially over the last 2 years, I think he's explosive. He's a wonderful player out of Miami. I've always followed the Hurricanes, so I've always liked seeing those players excel out of college. But don't get me wrong, Isaiah Crowell is good, but, like, has he been around this year either? Like, I don't know. Like, I haven't seen really any Browns highlights either. Like, I don't know if Isaiah's even been playing well or if, like, or not. Like, I know Duke Johnson had a couple good stiff arms, a couple good screen passes, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Like, the game that, something said earlier, it's just a toss-up. It's like, could be a high-scoring game, could be crazy.
I really want to see the Panthers and Detroit Lions game.
Yeah, no, that's going to be, how about earlier, that's going to be a crazy game as well. I don't even know what's in store for that.
I don't even know what the final outcome of that game would be.
It's tough, man. Like, I think, I don't know. Like, I think we had some good score predictions today. I don't think, a couple people had some bold predictions, but I think we all had a couple good score previews, definitely.
Absolutely.
Wait, hold on a second. Tracy, let's talk about tonight's game real quick. What do you think? I know you said you picked the Patriots, and that was all you said, but what do you think about the game tonight in hand? Because I think this game is so overlooked. So.
I'm sorry. I actually picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. See, there you go. But I'm glad I brought it up. Now, why did you pick the Buccaneers? You're the only person who picked the Buccaneers so far out of us three, so.
I think it's a big game.
It is. Yeah, it's huge.
They're at home. Thursday night football. Jameis Winston finally have the offensive weapons that he asked for, and let's see if they can step up from prime time like.
Yeah.
But you could never count out Bush Ransom New England Patriots, especially on Thursday night football.
It's going to be a great game tonight, no doubt.
Yeah. It's going to be a good game. I know it's going to be a busy night for Chris, so I want Titans tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Patriots, Tampa Bay could win this game. You never know. I know Tony Mario, one of my other writers for the site, he's actually going to this game with his nephew from Denver, who, get this, Ryan, is a Patriots fan. He's a Patriots fan, and he lives in Denver.
Wow, Ryan, we got to see that.
Let's just put it like this. If he asked me to hold his place in line, I'm going to say yes, but I ain't going to hold it.
I do have a quick question, though.
Yeah.
If the Kansas City Chiefs win on Sunday, are they considered a Super Bowl contender?
Yeah, probably. If they beat the Chiefs, they'd be a Super Bowl contender because their projected record, we had them at 12-4 at the beginning of the year. No, we had them at 10-6. But when they beat the Patriots, they beat the Chargers, they beat two teams we thought they might initially lose to. So those wins bumped them up to from 10-6 to 12-4. Now they're at 13-3 based off projections because we gave them a win over Oakland if Derek Carr doesn't play in Week 7. So if they beat the Texans, their projected record would be 14-2, which would be better than both the Patriots and the Steelers, meaning that even if they lost to the Steelers in Week 6, they would still get home field in the AFC conference, which is huge, because I think that's the only way the Chiefs can even conceivably reach the Super Bowl, is if they get home field. And even if that happened, I still think the Patriots or the Steelers would beat them in the AFC title game.
So they're 2-0 in the conference, right, in the division?
Yes, they're 2-0 in.
Yeah.
I think they're 1-0 actually in the AFC. Yeah, because they beat the two NFC East teams and the Patriots, so they're 1-0 in division play.
Okay.
And the last thing I'll say about the Chiefs game too, coming from an Eagles fan, as well as like Andy Reid. Like I'm telling you, man. Like besides Bill Belichick, might be one of the most winningest percentage head coaches in the league. Like Andy Reid, especially with what he did with Don McNabb and like subpar 500 quarterbacks, basically, and had winning seasons, especially in the East, especially going in the playoffs. Like I think an Eagles fan, that was one of the biggest mistakes we could have done is let go of Andy Reid was huge, and I feel like that coaching there in the Chiefs is also a big step up in why they can be Super Bowl contenders as well. Because when I think of Andy Reid, I don't think of Bill Belichick immediately, but I think of Andy Reid being up there almost with him, just without the huge profile with Super Bowls and 5 Super Bowls and all these other little things. But with what Andy Reid has had and what he's done with the teams he's had, I think he's a wonderful coach. And I think that Andy Reid has helped the Chiefs tremendously, to be honest. I really think it's huge. And I think, to be honest, if they win this week, and I've seen a schedule this week, Chris. I know you said they have points to be deducted coming up. They might go down in negative, but I don't know if they win and they keep it up. I think the Chiefs can be beat definitely, but they're kind of unstoppable right now. Especially with that Hunt character coming in now, it's crazy. It's the whole new level of football. There's a lot of rookies coming in who are just explosive. Fournette, a couple other people as well. It's fun to watch. A lot of college players are coming out their first year excelling big time. So we'll see.
I agree. It's going to be a fun week.
I agree with
College football and the NFL with the Major League Baseball playoffs set to start at 4 today. So we want to thank everyone for tuning into this week's edition of Draft Utopia. We will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. with Thomas Coburn, Ryan, and myself will be back. I don't know. I think Dilyn works tomorrow on Friday, and so does Tracy. But we'll try. We're gonna get them. Dilyn definitely killed it today, so we're definitely gonna get him on a future show. I just don't know what other days are available this month. But when I go through the November schedule, I'm gonna try to get Dilyn on at least 2 or 3 different shows. We'll figure it out at some point. Because you absolutely aced it today. So, awesome job.
What time is the podcast tomorrow?
We're going to do a 2 p.m. Eastern show, which will be 1 Central, and 11 a.m. Thomas's time, noon Ryan's time. You have tomorrow off, don't you, Ryan?
Yeah, I believe so.
So, you can do your chores or stuff in the morning, then we can call in, and then we can talk sports the rest of the day. So, tomorrow will be a fun show. All right. So,
I can call you in tomorrow, so before work.
All right. Awesome, Tracy. Outstanding. So, Thomas, Tracy, Ryan, and myself will be back tomorrow. But Dilyn absolutely killed it today, and now I've got to consider what future days I want to add him next month because all the October shows are slated in and scheduled. But I definitely want to get Dilyn on a future show because he absolutely killed it today, and it was a pleasure to talk sports with Tracy, Ryan, and Dilyn. You guys were awesome. So. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Draft Utopia. We hope you enjoy your Week 5 coverage. So long. From the Utopia of Sports.
Call recording has been completed.